Hello. Welcome to the Witching Hours, episode 6. I'm patting ourselves on the back again. We've made it to 6 episodes. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, my microphone's working this time. So that's even better news.
Yep, sounds good. Sounds good from my end.
Okay, good. All right. Today we have Reiki Master Shaina Marie. Yay.
Yay.
So excited to have her here with us. All right.
Gonna be an awesome show.
Before we get into talking with our guest, we're going to do, of course, the paranormal news. We need a little. I was gonna say we need a little music introduction for the news, and then you made the sub noise, so I guess that worked out.
Yeah, I got my 10 months in, which means that you've had affiliate for at least 10 months now, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a year now, or actually a year and a month.
Yeah,
it was February.
More sub badges. Okay, so so the news. So first story we have tonight is a new multi-million-dollar research lab will attempt to revive the Tasmanian tiger.
What even is that?
So, well, we needed to talk to Nicole about this. A university in Australia plans to create a world-class research facility aimed at bringing the famed Tasmanian tiger back from extinction.
You know what? I think I've seen a picture of that before.
Yep. Made possible by way of a multi-million-dollar philanthropic donation, Melbourne University announced the establishment of the TIGRR lab, the Tiger Lab. The project will be focused on developing the technological tools to revive the iconic creature, which was declared extinct decades ago. So,
is there a picture of it? Does it look like it's like a smaller kind of cat, but it's like stripy? I feel like it has like a flattish kind of head, if I remember correctly.
I will post a picture in
our Discord. Okay. I was thinking it was like some prehistoric creature, but if it just went extinct not that long ago, I guess that's all right.
It existed in the 20th century, I guess. The only pictures they have of the Tasmanian tiger are like black and white film. If we could probably find out when it went extinct. I want to say in like the last one to be seen was in the 1920s.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
100 years.
Let's see.
Yeah, there's no color film in the 1920s. Not good stuff anyway.
And let me see if I can throw it in your.
Before you know it, it's going to be
hard. Let's hope not. As long as they don't bring back the saber-toothed tiger, I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
I don't think we need any extra big cats that can like crush human skulls. We have,
leave those in the past.
Yeah, let's keep those to a minimum.
I have the picture in the Discord.
Okay, I'll have to look at it later.
And I will throw a link to the Discord and chat. So if you want to be able to look at that picture, you can check it.
Thank you, Frosty. All right, what's the next story?
So let's see. Second item in the news is a Michigan woman receives 100-year-old postcard in the mail.
Oh.
So
where was it all this time?
When Brittany Keach checked her mailbox this week, it was flooded with the usual junk mail. But at the top of the pile of the miscellaneous flyers and bills sat something that caught her eye, a tattered and time-worn postcard. She said, at first I didn't think much of it other than it was old and interesting. And then she inspected it closer and realized that it had a faded green 1-cent George Washington stamp postmarked October 29th, 1920.
Wow.
On the front of the postcard was a Halloween illustration with a black cat, pumpkins, a witch, an owl, and broomstick. And the play on words, which Which would you rather be, a goose or a pumpkin head? Um, and then there was on the back was written, "Dear cousins, we are quite well, but mother has awful lame knees. It is awful cold here." And then it ends with, "Don't forget to write us." Followed by a question asking whether Roy got his pants fixed or not.
And they never found out, those poor people. They never
Yeah.
found out if Roy got his pants fixed.
And there's still no explanation of why it took 100 years for the postcard to arrive at its destination. The post office thinks that it might have fallen in between like the frame on a wall or something like that and been lost. And then during a post office renovation, it was found and circulated back into the
And they
mail.
just let it go.
Yeah. It says yeah. So yeah, significant post office delay.
Significant. Mm-hmm. I expect more of those. You send something out this week, it might make it in the next 100 years. If you're lucky.
Yeah. So a 100-year-old postcard arriving in the mail.
Wow.
Pretty interesting.
Mm.
That's pretty interesting. That's kind of like, you know, how you see those stories of people finding message in a bottle, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in the ocean.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been even more fascinating if the postcard looked brand new.
Oh yeah.
And then it would have been like a time slip or something. But if it was old, that just means the post office lost it for 100 years. And that's kind of sad.
It's pretty interesting though. I mean, you're still getting this piece of the past.
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the mail.
I really try to find like their lineage. And, you know, they've got to have grandkids out here.
Oh, yeah. Like, who does this actually belong to? Yeah.
Yeah. And the last story I have for today is Courtney Cox from, the Scream movies and Friends fame,
Mm-hmm.
claims that she sold her LA home because it was haunted.
Mm.
She was on a talk show and she was talking about selling her house. People told her that her house was haunted and she didn't believe it. It was a home owned by the burlesque dancer Gypsy Rose Lee, and then later owned by Carole King.
Oh.
And she said one day, like, a UPS man came to drop off a package, and he was talking to her, and he said to her, "Did you know that your house was haunted?" And she said, "Why do you say that?" And he says, "Because there's a man standing behind you."
Oh.
And so soon after, she said she put her house up on the market. She couldn't live there anymore and sold the house.
Mm.
Said she couldn't sleep there alone ever again after she heard that.
Wow.
Do you know how long she lived there?
How long she had lived there?
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know if the story says or not.
I'm just curious, like, she didn't hear anything or see anything,
Yeah.
this time?
Yeah.
Well, she had brought. They had said at one point that Carol. This is Courtney Cox saying so. That Carole King came over to my house and she said there had been a divorce that was really ugly and there was a ghost in the house. But other people who stayed with me, like friends of mine, said they had an encounter with a woman who was sitting on the edge of the bed.
Wow.
And I think some of her friends had come over and they had done. That Carole King came over to her house and they did a seance there to try to banish the spirit from the property.
Yeah, that
But
usually
evidently it wasn't successful.
It usually doesn't go well.
And that is
That's the news. All right. Wow. You found some good stories. Interesting. Poor Courtney Cox. Well, if her and David Arquette wouldn't have got divorced, she wouldn't be sleeping alone. Whoa. Okay.
All right. So tonight our guest is Shaina Marie. She is a spiritual wife and mama to 3 kids.
Who are adorable, by the way. They're absolutely adorable.
She was thrown into a spiritual awakening in 2016, and she has since learned how to expand her mediumship abilities to help others. She is a tarot reader and a Reiki Master teacher. Welcome to the Witching Hours, Shaina Marie.
Thanks for having me.
And hello, Sylvie. How are you doing tonight, Sylvie? All right, I'm gonna let Frost Giant ask all the beginning questions because I know most of the answers to those. And then when we get to the deep dives, I have some extra special questions.
So I think, just to start off with our viewers as they come into the room here, just talking. Some people might not be familiar with Reiki itself. So the first question is, what is Reiki?
I get asked that question all the time. So essentially, everything is energy, right? There's energy all around us in the universe, in us. It's everywhere. And energy. So Reiki itself, it's a Japanese word that breaks down. So Rei is universal life force, and Ki is energy. So it's basically the energy that comes from the universe, from God, from higher power, whatever you want to call it, right? So it's essentially just everything. And Reiki is used because you can think about it. A lot of people know about chakras, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Side note, you will probably hear me throughout this whole time saying switching between chakra and chakra because I learned it initially as chakra, but I learned that was wrong, and it's
Mm. Of course,
so
because as Americans, we always pronounce everything wrong.
everything wrong, right? So, anyways, a lot of people are familiar with chakra points, right? You've got your crown, your third eye, your throat, right? It goes all the way down. And then you've even got more chakras aside just from the main seven that people know. But we'll just use that for example. A lot of times, um, those chakra points will become imbalanced, right? And if they become imbalanced, for example, your solar plexus, if that becomes imbalanced, it comes out um, in like stomach issues, right? So in order, so it typically comes out in like any physical form. Heart chakra, you can get heart issues. Your feelings are out of whack, and so in order for them to get brought back into balance in alignment, that's where Reiki steps in, and Reiki helps transfer the energy wherever you need. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sure
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. I
So
like I think a lot of people, I know myself included, when you get really stressed out and you're feeling like heart heavy, your heart
Mhm.
literally starts acting up.
You feel this heaviness right in your
Mm-hmm.
chest, and it's crazy because like when people have back pain, when they have joint pain, they don't they don't automatically associate it with, oh, it's my energy, it's what's going on inside of me. You kind of just take a Tylenol and call it a
Mm-hmm.
day,
Yeah, people like just assume that it's physical. Yeah.
exactly. And so you don't people often don't correlate it with your energy points, and it's like what's going on really on the inside. And once they can once like if you don't take that Tylenol, you don't take any meds for it, and you actually start working on your energy, you'll be amazed with the difference that with what happens.
so we have the origin in Japan. Do you
Yep.
know anything about the history of how Reiki kind of gets introduced to the West and how it's become kind of this movement that's been happening in North America?
So basically, the origin comes from Mikao Usui. Okay, and so he was this man that was basically just on this journey. You'll see different stories because it was so long ago. Obviously, game of telephone, right? Things change. But essentially, the story is that Mikao Usui, he was like on this journey, like just trying to find himself, right? He had looked into different religions like Buddhism, Christianity, and all these different things. And he just couldn't find, like, I don't know, like what was meant for him, maybe. So eventually he had decided to climb Mount Karama, and he went up there at the very top for 21 days and he fasted and meditated for that entire 21 days. And after the 21 days, he is when he found Reiki. He found the universal life force energy was just given to him. And so from there, came back down and he just, knew that it had to be shared. Obviously, he couldn't
Why
keep
does all this mystical stuff always happen
Mhm.
at the top of a mountain?
it. Now I
Yeah.
want to go.
Yeah, let's go. All right, where's the closest mountain? We have a bunch around here. It's time to hike up.
But it's
Yeah.
amazing too. Like, even if you go hiking and you just go to the top of a hill, like, how good do you feel up there, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it does make sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
But yeah, he brought it down to his successor. I mean, he had a bunch of people that he taught, but his successor was Chujiro Hayashi, who then her successor was Mrs. Takada. And Mrs. Takada brought it here to the United States. So there is, the
Mm.
traditional Reiki. It's evolved over the years. Like there are
mm-hmm.
like so many different versions now, and you've got the traditional Usui, Reiki, and then you've got the Western version that was kind of brought here. So the traditional actually didn't like focus on chakras or anything like that. It was more the Japanese version of energies, called ki, Reiki. And then when it was brought here, now it's been westernized, and a lot of people actually, incorporate like those chakra points into their healings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
Little Wing and Frost Giant both have shoulder injuries. And
Yeah, we
Little
like
Wing was
the same shoulder injury.
Little Wing was asking what chakra corresponds to the shoulder. I think in a joking way, but um, do you think like I mean clearly what we were talking about was emotional pains and spiritual pains are the things that can unbalance us, but can Reiki also help with physical injuries?
Yeah, it can 100%. Shoulder, um, I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, I want to say it could definitely be related to sacral. Just because sacral chakra, I know that when that's out of balance, it it affects your lower back and it can go up your spine also and out to your extremities.
Mm.
So I wouldn't put it past that. And also like it could also, it's just at the beginning of a Reiki session, I like to do like a body scan just to see what else because it could also just be energy like just stuck there and it just kind of needs to be moved around, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um if it was like off the top of my head, I would definitely say it could be related to your sacral.
Hmm.
Okay.
There you go, Little Wing. So you need to do
Mm. Yeah, we need some
sacral
Reiki.
Reiki healing.
Yeah.
You
Um
know?
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's something that I've actually talked to medium Jenny about this just on the side like man, like maybe I need to check it out and see if it would help. I have
Yep.
in full disclosure, I have had like one kind of official Reiki session before, and we can probably talk about that a little bit down the road. Um, are there different types of Reiki, or well, we talked about that a little bit. You talked about having like the westernized version of it, but how much deeper does that go?
There's a lot more. So I don't want to say a lot more. There's just a few others. And now that you're asking me, there's one in particular that I want to say, and now I can't think of the name. But there is one. It'll come to me later. There is one actually that I'm wanting. It's so funny. Right before I got on here, I just was looking at classes. Because while yes, I am a Reiki master, it's just in the original Usui, the traditional Usui Reiki, and then also the Westernized. But there's also another one called the Holy Fire.
Oh yeah,
And
one of our fellow medium in our circle said that they had done that one. Mm-hmm.
I have heard it's a lot more straightforward and I guess easier to because with regular Reiki, you have to be attuned, right? So there's this process where like not anybody can just do Reiki, right? You have to be attuned your energy has to be attuned by a master, in order for you to then give off and transfer that energy from the universe, into another living being. And so with holy fire Reiki, I could be wrong here because I'm not a holy fire master, but my understanding is that, the attunements, like there are no more attunements. They call it ignition.
Mm.
And just easier. Like it basically, instead of you doing all this, the attunements, they consist of you doing different symbols and different breath work and that kind of thing. Um, Essentially, my understanding is that the ignitions that it's now called, just kind of, it's like an experience that comes directly from God, higher power, universe, whatever it is. And it's just a lot easier to do.
Hmm. Yeah, I think when Nicole was on a couple weeks ago, she said she had learned how to do animal Reiki.
Yeah, you can do it on animals.
And then another person in our medium circle said that she's learned angel Reiki. So there is like a ton of different ones.
There's a ton of different ones, but what amazes me is that you don't really think about it, right? That there's all this energy, and energy could be shifted to just like help you feel relaxed, help you feel better. And I think essentially they all kind of have the same end goal.
Yeah.
It's just done a little different,
Yeah,
right?
it's like people tweaking it a little bit and making it something different.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I want to say thank you to Sylvie for contributing to
Thank
the
you.
30-minute tarot video giveaway. So Salty Frog won last week, and she has yet to tell me what she wants me to do for her reading, and I'm very sad, but she will. She will. So now we're starting a new challenge. So you guys throw them points in there, and then we just got a follow from the only anomaly. Oh, I almost said that wrong, but I got it. So thank you both.
So I have heard before too that like animals can perform Reiki as well. Like especially, I think I've heard that with cats. Am I right about that?
Can perform Reiki.
Yeah,
You know what? I've never heard that before,
you ever
but
heard that?
I wouldn't put it past them because if you think about it, people have emotional support animals. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
what do they do? I mean, yeah, it seems like they don't do anything but stick by your side, but it's healing. It really is. Like, I just got a new puppy, because my 14-year-old Chihuahua passed away in
Aw.
October. And
Oh.
when she passed away in October, I got her, I was only 16, and I didn't know that I would cry for 2 weeks. And after that, I was like, nope, done with dogs. I mean, I had two more, but I was like, I'm gonna wait till these are gone and then I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
But just all of a
Mm.
sudden, one day, I was just like, I'm gonna get a little. I need one.
Mm-hmm.
He's here. We picked him up a little over a week ago, and it's so healing. I'm now looking back at myself like, God, you were crazy. Why did you say all that stuff? Dogs
Mm-hmm.
are everywhere. You know?
We did the
But
same
yeah,
thing with the cats. Both of our
Yeah,
cats passed away, and we're like, oh, okay, we're done
we're
with
done.
yeah,
cats.
And it was
And
wonderful for a little while.
yeah, and then less than a year later, we got another cat.
Yeah.
yeah. See, and it's
Yep.
so healing, right? Like, and you don't realize it, but yeah, they're healing you. So
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that I've always wondered, I'm the normal. Well, I was going to say normal Joe, but we've had Joe Cunningham on here, so I don't want to use that name. But I'm the normal guy uh, who hasn't experienced mediumship or things of that nature. Uh, I approach this in more of like I'm like trying to find out about these things. I haven't really got to experience them for myself. So I'm always curious about like what does it feel like to perform Reiki?
Um, it's very healing also because when I am doing a Reiki session for someone else, I too am receiving Reiki. So it's so relaxing. It's so it's awesome. Like I don't even have to really get Reiki sessions on myself anymore because I'm
Mm,
automatically receiving Reiki as I'm giving Reiki to.
okay.
So, I know I haven't been attuned for any Reiki yet. I want to take it with Julie. That's my game plan. But I have read about it and I've kind of dabbled in it a little bit. And I know the book that I read said that the particular woman who wrote it said that she felt like her hands got really hot while she was doing it. Do you experience that?
Hmm. Tingling, heat, cooling. A great example, if you want to know what I'm talking about, you kind of just move your hands just like this, right? Rub them together. You can shake them out. Just get them moving, right? You get the energy moving. And then just go like this. Leave a gap. Do you feel what's in the middle of your hands? That's
Yes.
energy.
Yeah.
That's energy right there. So that's what I'm essentially what I'm doing when I'm performing a Reiki session, a healing session is we're shifting that energy. We don't feel it all the time because we're, you it's all around us. You kind of just ignore it in your everyday life. But once you finally bring yourself to pay attention, it's there, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Um, Tingling, heat, cooling. You could even see because I have my eyes closed and my client will have their eyes closed. Some people see colors, flashes of light. You might even see images.
Yeah.
So it's amazing what can come.
So this is one of my deeper dive questions, but since we were already talking about it, so because you're also receiving the Reiki when you're performing it, other than feeling relaxed and like not having to feel like you need it yourself, like how else have you affected? How else has oh goodness, how else have you seen it affect like your own healing?
Oh, I have lupus, and so
Oh,
diagnosed with lupus at I was a kid, like 11, 12 years old, and I no longer have to take any pain meds.
wow.
Uh, my meds, my regular meds are like down to like the bare minimum. And I'm
Mm.
working on getting them off. And it's just like I also even have like anxiety. I would wake up in the middle of the night, even as an adult, with night terrors. And I knew that there was like nothing to be afraid of, but I would wake up and I'm just scared, sweating, and I haven't had one for I can't even tell you how long.
Wow.
So there are those little things that, um, you know, obviously I don't miss them, but I notice that they're gone,
Mm-hmm.
just this. And I'm just so much calmer at home. I don't let a lot of things bother me. And I'm very, like, I'm a Scorpio. And,
Uh-oh.
I'm
Watch
intense
out.
at work. Yep. I'm always grouped up, very intense and very loud. And, I'll cause an argument with my brothers and sisters. And
Yeah.
since, I've kind of just I mean, I guess it's not just Reiki too, it's just my whole spiritual journey. It
Mm-hmm.
just all made together and I feel like it's made me a better person. It's just I don't know, I guess relaxing. It's made me realize like, with Reiki there are five principles. And the five principles that you learn is just for today. I had to write it down. So just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not have anger. Just for today, I will work with integrity. Just for today, I will be grateful. And just for today, I will be kind to all living things. So, a lot of times, like before Reiki, we're constantly worried about what the future, the past. We're
Mm-hmm.
never really living in the moment, right?
Mm-mm.
So Reiki has really taught me, okay, just for today, I'm just going to worry about what's right here in this moment. I'm not going to be upset. I'm just going to deal with it. Deal with what you can. You can't worry about the future. It hasn't happened yet,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, just knowing all of that, it's really just made me a more like put together.
I
Like,
really like that because it's like just for today, but really that means every day because, you know.
it really is, right? But it's like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
tomorrow. You got to get through today,
Mm-hmm.
honey.
And that's pretty amazing about the lupus. The fact
Yeah.
that you're like feeling good and healthy and like you're not having to take a lot of medicine. That's crazy. And then Little Wing also wanted to tell you that she was sorry to hear about the loss of your dog.
Oh, thank you. I know she was my baby.
I
My
know.
baby, the piece.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the hardest ones to lose because they really were your babies.
She really was. It
Yeah.
would take I was 16, and anytime I wanted to go out with my friends, I had her in a little bag, So yeah, everybody knew her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She was the baby. So actually,
Well,
when I first started learning Reiki, I learned how to do animal Reiki, and I had found out early last year that she had a tumor on her liver, and so
Mm.
that's when I started doing Reiki on her. And to be honest, I honestly think that it helped her deal with the symptoms because dogs can't tell you when they're in
Yeah.
pain.
Yep.
And so I do think it also helped her relax and move on.
Awesome.
well, the last thing that you that actually works out really well what you were talking about just recently about how about your experiences and how it feels in the healing of Reiki. And I had mentioned earlier that I had received one Reiki session. Oh shoot, that was probably
It's a long time ago
maybe
now.
like six 6 or 7 years ago now at this
Mm.
point.
No, it was like,
Maybe even longer, like eight
yeah.
years ago. um, so yeah, quite a while ago. And because I wanted to get like the experience of like what it felt. I wanted to ask you about what people report that have had that you perform Reiki on. But from my experience, I had lots of tingling. I could definitely feel the energy and see colors.
Mm.
Um, but I think the most impactful thing that really surprised me that I wasn't expecting from the Reiki was that I was almost like a changed person for like a couple of weeks after the Reiki. Like I was very much living in the moment. I found joy in a lot of things that, I guess for all of us, we kind of get into that daily grind. And I didn't feel like I was in that grind anymore. Um, this is a PG, at least PG-13 stream, but I'll just say that I felt very invigorated after my Reiki session, which weren't things
Ew.
that I wasn't expecting afterwards. But I just felt like really good. I was
Yeah.
enjoying every day. I was taking more time to try to go out and like enjoy family and enjoy friends, and I don't know. I just felt really good after the session. Is this something that's typical after having a Reiki session?
Yes, of course. And you don't have to have like for anybody watching, like you don't have to like have pain anywhere, like or really need Reiki for anything. You people do Reiki just to get those feelings, just to be relaxed and feel centered. Like and we all could use that every once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
right?
For sure.
Why not? You're right. Like we get so caught up in the moment of trying to pay bills and we have to work and we've got these errands to run and the kids need to be fed and the car needs to be worked on, right? There's like so many things that need to be done that we don't really take care of ourselves and we don't pay attention to, well, check in with how we're doing every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of get a Reiki session, then you kind of realize like, hold on, I could feel this way, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, and I swore to Jenny after I got the Reiki session, like I felt so good.
yeah,
Uh, I was I was just getting out of the military at the time and like kind of changing stuff in my life, and so there was lots of stress, and all the stress went away, and I said, man, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna book another appointment with the person we did it through, and I never did it again. But until this day, I'm constantly saying like, man, I need to, have another session done, and I haven't. So maybe I'm gonna have to book something. But
yeah,
yeah, it's
Yeah.
good to know, that. Um, my experience wasn't just like a one some weird thing that happened.
even my Reiki session, um, it's funny, like I didn't even know what Reiki was. I didn't even like research it or want to get into it or anything. It was my sister. She's going through her own spiritual stuff and she wanted to take this Reiki class and we always there's three of us, me and my sisters, and we always do things together and she asked me and my other sister, like, do you guys want to take this Reiki class with me? And I was like, all right. I didn't even know what it was. I signed up for it, didn't even Google it or anything. So
Mm.
about a week before the Reiki class, I figured I probably should get a Reiki session done so I know what the heck I'm doing here. And I had a Reiki session done and it was my very first one. And I walked out of there, my whole body was tingling, like, and I right after that, I went and took a 3-hour nap. I couldn't even remember the last time I did that, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah, it's really amazing.
Yeah. So if anybody is in chat or watching this video later, once we post it to YouTube, and you're watching at a later time, if you haven't had a Reiki session, definitely check it out. And that's one of the reasons, it's fun to talk about these things. And of course, we have like Jenny's point of view on here, someone who, does mediumship, and our guests usually who are, have a connection to these things. But sometimes it's good for someone like me to get confirmation that I wasn't, because sometimes you wonder, like, is this just in my head? Like, am I making this up, or is this real? Or do I just, am I, so it's good to, have that experience uniquely, and then find out later that it's an experience that's shared with other people.
And
Um,
actually, ever since I got into Reiki, like I did the tarot, the mediumship way before Reiki, and I had found myself so um what's the word? Like always second guessing any messages that I was getting from spirit, my intuition. I was always questioning myself. And ever since I got into Reiki, like I don't do that anymore. Like I can promise you, had I not been into Reiki, I probably would have, if we were going to talk about mediumship or something, I probably would have canceled, you know? But now, like, I've learned Reiki has kind of taught me to just go with the flow. What happens, happens, and it's going to be okay. It's meant to happen that way, right? It's always going to be a learning experience. So, and then not just that, but like, if anybody watching this, like, is considering getting a Reiki session done and you don't find anyone in your area, it doesn't have to be done like in person. It can be done distance, because it's like I said, energy is everywhere,
Yeah.
right? And it goes.
Just like I can give you guys medium readings on the
yeah. Oh,
internet where I can only see your screen name and I don't even know who you are, you can get a
I
Reiki.
was,
You can get a Reiki
yeah.
session remotely too.
And we've told the story a million times, but like we started all this, like we were talking earlier before the stream. I started streaming a little bit, with like video games and stuff, during the pandemic. And then when Medium Jenny decided she was going to do this, that was the question in my head. Like, how are you going to do medium
Is this gonna
readings
work? Yeah.
for people you don't see, that you don't know, that are going by a screen name that isn't even their real name?
Mm-hmm.
And it's
It
every
works.
time I tune in, I'm completely amazed and flabbergasted at um, how that works. And so and that leads really good into another question that I had, and that's with so this is working out really well. All the answers are leading into my next questions here. What is, when you talk about medium work, tarot reading, psychic abilities, um, is that different? Does it feel different, or is it different, or how is it different from Reiki?
Um, well, okay, so the Reiki itself deals more so with just the energy, right? The energy that's all around us, kind of trying to balance us all out. Um, it's different from mediumship and like tarot because with mediumship you're working with spirits on the other side, and tarot, you're going to be working with also, I guess, your loved ones on the other side, but spirit guides, angels, that kind of thing, right? And then it's also more psychic. So that's where it's different. It's like a different field in itself. But the way that it kind of works together too is like Reiki helps balance you out. If you're not in balance, um, you're
Mhm.
not going to trust your intuition as well, right? Like, let's say if my throat chakra is out of balance, I'm going to second guess what I'm getting, and I'm not going to voice, what I really want to say. So, does that
Mm-hmm.
make, it's kind of intertwined, but yes, they are still kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah. So since we're on that topic, um, I know some people that do Reiki a lot of times when they're doing it, they end up getting psychic or medium mystic information. Does that happen to you too?
Yes, yeah. Um, because like I said too, like you're working with energy. And like for me, for example, I guess you could say mine is a little bit more westernized because I do incorporate, the seven chakra points. And then of course, you're working with your crown chakra. That's like going to be associated with mediumship and like the other side, right? So yeah, for sure. I do get messages sometimes. Actually, I just had a Reiki session on Sunday, and like grandmother had come through, and then ex-boyfriend, and it was weird. I didn't want to say it during because typically during the session it's quiet and you're transferring everything. So I kind of had to like push them out the way. But afterward, I ended up giving her a mediumship um reading.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
So let's see. Little Wing has a comment. The go with the flow, whatever happens, happens matches my fortune cookie tonight. Oh, look at that. No coincidences. If it's meant to be, who are you to change that? Time to believe it. Seems like a good message for you too, Jenny. Oh, thanks. Goes with your theme lately. Yep. If it's meant to be, it's time
Yep.
to believe it.
Yeah. And also like even if it's like something like bad that you didn't want to happen, that's a lesson for you,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something for it's gonna help you level up in whatever it is. So
Yeah.
you wanna go through the bad stuff too.
Or sometimes when something seems bad, it turns out that,
Mhm.
like for example, I had set up a group, a small
Mhm.
group gallery reading, and nobody had signed up for it yet, and it was like down to like the week of, and then all of a sudden, Cindy posted that thing about the Paul Jacobs class, and it was the same day.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's why nobody signed up for it, because I'm supposed to take this class instead. So I canceled my reading and I took the class, and it was a really good class, and I'm glad that I was able to do it. So it's
Yeah.
It
And
all
something that seemed bad turned out to be something important.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, and just from our conversations about it, it seemed like it was something that was important for you to a class that was important for you to take.
exactly. Yep. And
Mhm.
I realized that when I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, this makes sense now.
Mhm.
It always works itself out.
It does. It does.
That I had to go find a little piece of paper.
Oh.
We had a news story. I don't know if it was last time or the time before. We all know that the fortune cookie fortunes are very American, and you know, uh, but we did have a news story a couple weeks ago where someone played their numbers off of their fortune cookie and won the lottery. So it doesn't hurt to look at the message. If you can win money with it, might have
Yeah,
a good.
yeah,
You might as well listen to the fortune too. Yeah.
yeah.
It might be something you need to hear, and if not, at least it'll make you laugh. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm. It looks like Little Wings was pretty good
Yeah,
one
exactly.
today. It fit the evening.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's all
here,
about intention, right?
yeah,
So, if you
intention.
have the
Yep.
intention that you're getting something from the fortune cookie, maybe you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. No, I want fortune cookies. Okay.
Anyway.
Okay, so we're still, since we've been talking about psychic and medium stuff, do you think that knowing, oh, I guess you kind of answered this already. The question was, do you think knowing Reiki helps you with your psychic medium work?
Mhm.
yeah. If anything, it's at least helped me with my confidence.
Yeah.
My confidence and my encouragement to like keep going and not worry about if I'm getting things wrong. I think that for me throughout my entire journey has been the biggest thing. We're always like, I have had conversations with myself like, I think you're making this up. you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
you're making it up. And I think, and then I have to constantly like talk myself out of that talk. Like, no, how would I know that this person just bought a car. You know,
Yeah.
it's not every day that somebody buys a car. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've bought one brand new car in my lifetime. Like,
Yeah.
like that's not a common thing. So, with the Reiki, like it's just yeah, 100%. I
Confidence
haven't.
building. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is similar with all of those things, really, right? Having the confidence to not question
Mm-hmm.
like what you're getting.
Yep.
Um, we've talked
Yeah.
about this before. So I won't tell the whole story, but we were talking about past lives earlier as well, and that was something that I had that like was tough for me. Is like, what is your imagination, and what are you actually experiencing? And I was able to get kind of evidence through my past life regression that I was moving ahead of the person who was guiding us, and I was seeing the things before she said we would see them. So that was confirmation for me that it wasn't just my overactive imagination. And so I imagine that's kind of the same thing with like mediumship and things
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Imagination, this is like what I tell people all the time. Imagination is such a real thing. Why do you think kids are so sensitive? Right? They've got this huge imagination, right? They got this huge imagination, and that is why they see spirits, they hear spirits, they're more sensitive to the other side. And as we grow older, we lose a piece of that imagination. So when we're trying to get it back, that's why we're questioning ourselves, because we're like, no, 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 we grew out of this. We're adults
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah.
It,
Mhm.
imagination, I believe, is really tied to intention, to the other side. Like, we just have to really believe it in ourselves for it to work,
Yeah.
right?
It's like we have to learn
Mhm.
all over again that thoughts are way more powerful than we realize.
Exactly. Manifestation,
Yeah.
law of attraction, right? You
Mm-hmm.
just keep saying it, it's gonna happen, right?
Just intention itself is a thought. And it's like, you know, setting your intention for anything can make or break the situation,
Yeah,
you know? And that's all that is a thought, you know?
for
Thank you,
sure.
Little Wink, for contributing to the 30-minute tarot video game. We're working on another one. I love doing
Well,
this for you guys. They're so fun. And so far, everybody that's got one has been very happy. So keep on keeping on. Did you have more questions for us, Giant?
um, not any more that we're prepared. I kind of wanted to go through the idea of like what we've talked about someone who hasn't experienced Reiki yet, like what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but did you have any more prepared
Oh
that you
yeah, I
wanted
think
to
I
talk
have
about?
more.
Because I know
Let me
you were
look. Let me
doing
look.
like we're kind of getting into the.
Yep. Okay, here's another question. Without giving too much personal information about the person, what is one of your craziest Reiki experiences?
I think it was the one that I just mentioned.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was where like there, and I didn't expect it. It was the first time it ever happened to me. And I think a big part of it is because, all this time I've been doing a lot of distance because of COVID. I've been doing a lot of distance sessions. Which, honestly, it still works the same way, but there's nothing like physical. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's completely different, right? And so when I was working on this person, yeah, like I said, her grandmother was coming through, and then her ex-boyfriend from years ago was coming through, and I kept getting all these messages, and it was very distracting for me because now I'm like, "What are you trying to say?" But I'm just trying to focus on transferring the energy. So I was able to just, keep going forward with the Reiki, and then afterwards, I ended up just giving her a mediumship reading because I was like, "Yeah, they're here now." So
Yeah, yeah, like how can you hold that back? Like if
yeah,
it came through for a reason, you got to say it. Yeah.
exactly.
Cool.
Uh,
All right. I think I have another one. Or maybe I asked that one. Do I have some more? No. I think
Well,
I'm out
I
of
I had another
questions.
one about like the processes. Like you talked earlier a little bit about like going through the classes.
yeah.
Um,
Oh
what
yeah.
what was kind of like the difference between going through the different levels, and how did that like kind of affect how you did Reiki, and maybe explain that for some of the people who don't know about that.
Yeah. So there are essentially three main levels, and then obviously, like after that, you would be learning all of the other, and all these different kinds. Um, The first level, though, so I'm talking about just the traditional Reiki. Level one basically teaches you all of the points, the hand placements, where you would go, and it teaches you, that energy, what you're looking for, what you could feel, the tingling, the cold, heat, and you can see flashes, images, light, color. And so with level one, you basically learn how to perform Reiki on yourself, and animals and like friends and family. Okay, just for practice, though. And then essentially, you are committing yourself to just like Mikao Usui went up and fasted and meditated for 21 days. You're committing yourself to perform Reiki on yourself for 21. So you're supposed to do that before you even move on to level two.
Okay.
So then level two essentially is this. So level one would just be knowing how to do it, but you're not allowed to like charge people anything. Like you're just you're attuned to transfer energy within yourself and then to others within. And so level two takes you to the business side and it teaches you how to do distance Reiki. And so upon completing level two, you can then start, your Reiki business, right? You can then start, charging and performing Reiki on others in a business setting. And then from there, if that's enough for person, then that's okay. They can just stop there. From there, you would go to Reiki Master, where then now you're not just a practitioner. You can now teach other people and spread um, the knowledge. Of it.
And so, one thing I should ask you at the beginning of the show, so we can get out there for you. But is there any place that online where anybody can sign up with you to do either get sessions or to learn from you or anything like that?
There is. So if you go to my Instagram, right now, it's my username. It's gonna be changing next week. I'm going through this entire rebranding of
Okay.
my spirit business. But right now it's Shaina Marie, just like uh, have my username on here. But it's Shaina Marie dot Y. And then so I have a link in bio that then will take you to my booking site.
Here we go.
Um,
I got it. I'm putting it in the chat.
Excellent.
oh,
That's what I was trying to do. Excellent.
so you click that. There'll be a few different links on that, but it'll say book with me. And yeah, you can go on there and you can book any session from Reiki in person or distance, and then also a tarot and mediumship reading. Everything can be done via Zoom. If you don't see the service that you're looking for, there's a little. It's in small words, but it says switch locations because now that I have an in-person location versus a Zoom location, it I don't know why it just doesn't put it all on. That's just so yeah. If you just don't see the option you're looking for, you just would hit switch.
Cool.
Excellent. Yeah, and like I said, coming from a person who's had a whole one Reiki session,
Yeah,
for me, it's not because I haven't wanted one. It's because it's not something you find easily find every day. And so, yeah, if you guys haven't had one,
Yeah, it's not like
go,
it's
we have one in our community where you're
yeah,
driving
go,
past it and you're like, oh,
yeah,
yeah, I should get a Reiki session. Yeah.
go book a Reiki session with Shayna Marie.
Yeah, and like I said, like even for me, it's so interesting. Like it just kind of fell on my lap. Like I wasn't looking, I didn't know what Reiki was, and I wasn't interested in finding out. And then when it just fell on my lap, then I found out what it was all about, and it just amazed me, right? And so yeah, so even if it's not booking with me, like this is your sign. Go find if you
Yeah.
prefer it,
Mm.
go find a Reiki person local. It'll
Yeah.
change.
Well,
Yeah.
I need another session, so I probably will be going to your website and booking a virtual session.
He really needs it, Shaina. Like really
Yeah.
bad. He's starting to drive me crazy with his negativity. So if you can whip that out of him, that would be
Yeah.
eternally grateful.
Out of there.
Move that stuff on out,
Yeah.
please.
I have a tendency to hang on to that stuff, but I think these last couple of years, it's been tough for anybody to stay completely positive. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of tarot stuff do you do?
So I just love, even though I buy so many decks, like in different, I love the Rider Waite, and I have just stuck with that. Every time, like, I have bought probably like 10 new decks, and I keep telling myself every time I do a new tarot reading, I'm gonna start learning how to use that other deck. But I don't know, the Rider Waite one just keeps calling me.
That's your go-to. That's funny because I never had that one. Like my first one is the Osho Zen Tarot, which I don't know if you've ever seen that one. It's like Buddhist inspired.
Yeah.
So that was the only one I ever had, the only one I learned how to use. And then just in the last year, I decided to get some other decks. And then Jeremy bought me the Rider Waite one for Christmas. So I've only been using it like this tiny bit of time. And that's the deck. Like, how did I go this long without it?
So much detail. So I didn't even want my first deck that I bought was not that one. I only bought it because the very first class that I took said to buy the Rider. And I didn't like it because I was like, it's super old school. I love everything that I buy. It's much more modern. And so I really didn't like it. And then when I started learning about it,
Mm-hmm.
there's such detail in the images that you don't even really need a book. You don't need anything because there's just the colors mean something. Um, Even if like you've got a main picture, if you look behind that main picture, there's a completely different meaning.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Rider Waite tech, it amazes me every time I do it too. Like, I mean, I've been using it about 2 years now, and like I'm still finding new stuff.
Yeah. I was lost, even though one of my friends does. Like, that's pretty much the only one she uses. And I've watched 800 of her tarot videos, but I still was like feeling lost. So then Little Wing bought me this book, the guided tarot, and I've been reading that, and I'm starting to feel more confident with it.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. That's like my go-to deck. Like I said, I have so many. I just know what it is. It just keeps pulling in.
I mean, well, really, I mean, that's the one that all the other ones are based on anyway. Yeah.
Well, you said you even though like the Osho Zen one, even like your that book and learning the Raider White deck is helping you even with the older deck,
Yeah,
right?
because
Because now
that
you're learning
even
that game
that one
sense.
is based on the Rider Waite deck.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then I also have like I've started getting into like oracle cards, which are pretty cool. Um, and I've started incorporating them into my tarot readings, which has been nice because it gives like a little spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's nice too. But even if I don't have like any of my oracles, I'll just stick to the right away. It's got enough information in there.
Yeah. So the Oracle decks, like I hear people talk about them all the time. I don't have any, and I really don't know a lot about what they are. So how are they different than the tarot?
Yeah, so the tarot is like a strict, what is it, 78 deck.
Mm-hmm.
And they all essentially have the same cards. Um, from like the major arcana, minor arcana. Sometimes like wands, like I have a deck where the wands are switched out for I think feathers.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be have a little bit of difference there, but essentially it's the same amount of cards, same I don't want to say exact same meanings, but
Yeah.
same idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
The oracle decks are they can be anything. So I have a couple here. Let's see. I've got these are some of my favorites. I've got like some like this will say the universe has your back. So I use this one a lot when I'm doing a reading and the person is going through like a really hard time because
Mm-hmm.
it um basically like affirmation.
Okay.
Like example, this one right here it says, I recognize that I have chosen fear and I choose again, I choose love. So see how it looks different too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So essentially, the thought is that you're dealing with spirit guides still, and the thought is your spirit guides know what order the cards are in. They know what order the cards are in. They know what message you need to receive, right? So then when you pull a card, then that's still your spirit guide giving you.
Yeah. My friend Darth that streams on here too. I was watching
Mhm.
him the other day and he was doing tarot readings and he did the traditional tarot cards and then he had an oracle deck that was like it was like self-care and
Oh yeah,
it was, it's always crazy when it happens all the time, but when it happens it's still crazy. He pulls out a couple of the self-care cards and they had the exact same message in them that the tarot cards have.
see,
Yeah.
and that's
Mm.
how it works. So a lot of times when I incorporate both together in a reading, it just complements it. It just reconfirms,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's nice. But yeah, they're just different because like see this one for example is 52 cards. This one is an angel card deck and it's only 44. So it's all different. It's not like stuck to like a traditional tarot deck.
Yeah.
Like
Interesting.
anybody can make
Yeah.
can put
Yeah.
and thought give you the message that you need.
I've I'm an artist also on top of everything else. And I keep wondering like and one day am I going to make my own tarot deck? But now I'm thinking like it'd probably be way easier if I made an oracle deck.
Make an oracle deck.
Well, you could do both.
Yeah, that's
Why not?
true.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not there yet.
Yeah.
The oracle deck kind of reminds me a little bit too of maybe like a little bit of connection or kind of some of the same energy as like runestones, where you're kind of like pulling, that.
But yeah, I think kind of like the same, it's just a different, like different meanings for, they have different symbols or something, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's just like the old alphabet from Old Norse. And so just basically this kind of, I guess, maybe the Scandinavian version and of oracle reading, I guess.
Yeah,
Because I know
it's
there's a connection to the East with that too. Like they kind of had their oracle readings with different kinds of things. It's all very similar. That's another interesting thing about all these shamanistic things that were so individual and localized, or were really global.
yeah.
People in China were reading oracles the same way people in Scandinavia were. So interesting stuff there too.
Yeah. All divination, all trying to communicate with spirit.
Yeah.
I always say it's like a game of telephone. Like it's so funny how like there are like so many different words for the same thing, but we're all essentially trying to get to the same endpoint. We're just doing it a little differently, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, like with, people say like God, higher power, the universe. We're all essentially the same thing. So it cracks
Yep.
me up when people are like, what?
Yeah. It's just a different word for the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we all got the same goal.
Yep. Well, most of us do anyway. Some of us, I don't know. We won't go into that right now. All right. So, what have you been doing with your medium stuff other than getting weird grandmas come through during Reiki session?
Well, actually, where so you've been seeing in Jamie's group
Mm-hmm.
where I signed up for our very first live free mediumship.
Yay.
So I don't even think she's announced it yet, but I'll go ahead and tell you the date. We're gonna do it on March 7th.
Oh no, you broke
Yeah,
up. You broke up on
you
us.
broke up. Repeat it one more time for
March
us.
what?
27. I think I could
Oh,
get
27th.
Yep. There you go. Sorry, I'm on my Mac and it's connected to my computer. Can you see me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good now. It only cut out when you were trying to tell us the date.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can't see you anymore.
Oh, you can't
here
see
you are.
us? Oh, okay.
It's weird. Oh, there you are.
Oh, good.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, March 27th, it's a Sunday. So we haven't like set times or anything like that yet. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing it with Nicole, animal communicator,
Yay.
and with Jamie, who's another medium. So I'm pretty excited about that because I've only ever done one other live Zoom event, and it went well.
Yeah.
So I've been really excited to do it again. I don't think I'm ready to do one alone yet.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to team up and do one with. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for that.
Awesome. Do you know how Jamie is how is she getting her people, like the sitters to like how is she collecting the sitters, do you know?
Oh, so we're gonna do a live Zoom event. It'll be gallery style. And you mean for who's gonna come to the
Yeah.
event, right?
Mhm.
We're gonna do a flyer. So you'll see a flyer going out. I'll post it on my Instagram too. And yeah, and so anybody that wants to go can go, and it's free. It's good practice for us at the end of the day.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I plan on doing one of those with whoever
Yeah,
eventually too. Well, that's really cool that you
yes,
and Nicole and Jamie are going to do it together. That should be awesome.
yes,
Yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
be good.
And I'll have
Well,
to share that information here with you guys too, so you
yeah.
can maybe you can go sign up for it and be a sitter in the gallery reading with my
Yeah.
buddies, my medium buddies.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
You have an in-person event coming up. You have an in-person event coming up down the road, don't you?
Me?
Yeah, Medium Jenny, aren't you doing
Oh
a
yeah.
day?
At the end of May, I'm doing a Paracon. Gonna be at a real life
Ah,
in person where there's really people walking around. Paracon, doing tarot and medium readings.
Yeah.
awesome. So you're gonna have like your own little booth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
great.
It'll be the first time I've ever done it in person, which will be
Yeah.
Uh,
exciting.
it's gonna be a good experience because I have found I was always very nervous. Anytime I had done mediumship readings, it was always very private on Zoom or like in a private setting, like closed door and everything. And then I had a friend who wanted to do a mediumship reading, and I don't know, for some reason, she didn't want to meet at a house. She wanted to meet at a Starbucks. And I was very nervous, and I told her, because there's like a lot of people around and it's not closed off. And then we went Starbucks and I did it there and I was amazed, like, what can still come through
Yeah.
regardless of the distractions around you. So
Yeah. Well, that's good to know.
you'll,
If you can do it in a
Yeah.
Starbucks, I can do it at a Paracon.
Mhm.
you'll have all the vibes over there too,
Yeah.
so you'll be good.
Yep. It'll be full of weirdos, a lot of weird energy. So I'll be good.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be cool too. Like the more you do them, maybe we can meet some of our friends here and chat at some point in time. We got
Yeah.
people spread out all over the place. So
Yeah.
I always say to everyone, like, like I know like Francesca is over in New York and what's that school over there? Lilydale. I always wanted to go to Lilydale. Where are you guys?
We're in Virginia.
we're in
Oh,
Virginia, but
that
medium,
area
because you're West Coast, right?
in West
Yeah.
Virginia.
So medium Jenny Lee is is really a California girl
Mm-hmm.
who's on the East Coast. So.
I was born in Fresno, which is, really not that exciting. But yeah, I am from
It is
California.
to us East Coasters. That's a foreign land, you know.
Oh, my husband used to have to work in Fresno, when he was doing like construction.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me there was much around there.
No, no, it's not quite the armpit of California, but it's pretty close. It's like the sweaty neck area. It's
Oh, okay.
like I think like maybe El Paso might be the armpit. Fresno might be the sweaty neck. Yeah.
Yeah, but it'd be
Yeah.
nice to finally meet like all of you guys in
Yeah.
person one day.
One day, there's got to be something that will happen for us to meet each
Yeah.
other in person. Yeah.
Well, like I said, everyone, since we've talked about this earlier, but I think the pandemic brought upon some positive things for people.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone all the guests we've had on here, and all the people that we've met through these classes seem to be, taking off and doing lots of really cool things. And I think at this point in time, that's going to lead to some big things where things like that are possible. So we'll see.
Yeah.
He's making a prediction. Write it down.
That's mine. 2000.
Your intuition's coming in. All right.
Yeah, we had our prediction show.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a check-in on that here in a couple months and see how things are going. That's what we did for our New Year. We did like a Christmas show, or well, I guess this
Hey.
was that after the Christmas show, but
No.
we did like a
yeah.
we did like a New Year's Eve show, and we did predictions.
Mm-hmm.
So and then we'll check on those and see how the
One of
predictions
mine
went.
was already coming true because I heard some of our coworkers complaining about how they couldn't afford stuff anymore. And that was one of
Mhm.
my predictions, that the prices of
Yeah.
stuff were going to go up so high that middle class people wouldn't be able to afford stuff they normally can.
I
Yeah,
already see that.
that's happening.
Yeah. It's
My
happening.
husband texted me and said, gas is $5 and something cents. I'm like, what?
Oh, yuck. It's like almost $4 here, and that's too much. So I know it's
Crazy.
horrible where you guys are.
Yeah. I was, when I was going through getting news ready, when I go through and get news ready for for these shows, I perused through a lot of different articles, and I'm usually looking at the mainstream news, but also like these kind of like, trying to find weird stories. You find yourself in weird places, but I saw like a lot of stories coming out where people are getting like they're parking in their cars to go in shopping, and people are like drilling holes in their gas tank and siphoning the gas out right now and stuff like that. So it's definitely having an impact on people, the prices of the goods.
Yeah. Insane.
Stuff they
Terrible.
need most, the food, gasoline to get to work, stuff like that. So
Wow.
but if I remember correctly, Charity said that she had good news after that, right?
Yeah,
What was
I
it, like
had all the
March, April?
terrible premonitions, and Charity gave us
Mhm.
good news. Yeah, she said around April things should start looking up for us.
So we're almost there. We got a month to go.
Yeah,
We got
if we don't get blown away with nuclear weapons, April should be okay.
I can't even watch the news anymore.
No, I can't either. When he watches it, I'm like, mm-mm. And then I try to watch. I watched like 30 minutes of the State of the Union, and I could not sleep that night. Like I was having nightmares.
One of the reasons why somebody came to me for a Reiki session over the weekend is because she was like, I cannot, like, I'm so stressed. My son just turned 18. He's considering going to the military. And now I'm worried that even if he doesn't, there's going to be this draft. And then, you start like, mine was just all over the place. And I'm like, okay, let's get you, let's get you on the table.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a real fear. We have a son who's getting close to being 18. He's going to be a senior in high school next year. And the military has kind of been an option for him on the table. And he kind of comes from military family because I was Army. My dad was Navy. And so that's like been a real option for him. And I was never concerned about that before. But right now, you wonder and say, is this, the best time to
Mhm.
volunteer?
And one of those things where, like, I don't know about you guys, but I love to do research on our history, and I love reading about, like, my grandfather was in World War II. I love reading about it. But God, to think that we might have to live through something like that, it's very scary. It
Mm.
makes people want to jump out of your body and, like, just get the heck out of here.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you get stuck in this circle where, like, we realized that watching the news was having a negative impact on our kids, through the pandemic and stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
like
And me.
causing more anxiety, and like
Yeah.
even myself, I realized I was becoming too wrapped up in it, and I'm trying to take a break from it. But um uh I'm a history guy, and I teach history, and so I can't. It's really hard to like not watch the news and kind of put my head in the sand, because I have students who are saying, "Mr. Shep, what do you think about this? So I can't like not know what's going on, and so it becomes difficult of like trying to balance, like, we got, let's stay positive, but also kind of staying abreast of what's happening in the world. And I think that's, a huge issue for a lot of people right now, and not just America, and the whole world.
Yeah, the whole world right now. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. You want to stay informed, right? Just in case, I mean, God forbid, knock on wood, like something happens and you need to know what's going on in your area. But it's just hard because it does take a toll, like it stresses you out. And how much can you really, there's not much you can do, right?
Yep.
Hmm.
So like all stuck, like just in this middle thing where like you're fine not knowing, but then you need to know also at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it goes
Yeah.
right back to what we mentioned. I think it was, I don't know if it was during earlier or if it was before we started, about how, like, the universe or God or spirit or whatever knew that the world was going to need so many more, like, spiritual healers,
Hmm.
mediums, psychics, Reiki masters, like, etc., because of all this stuff that was going to happen.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's why we're here right now, because we had the calling to go do this stuff.
Yeah.
So true,
Yeah.
because I feel like even just like 5 years ago, um, a lot of people would just think we were all crazy,
Yep.
right? Like all this spiritual woo woo, and
Mm-hmm.
now it's like really amazing because, like I said, it's kind of bringing people together and it's making people more compassionate about putting themselves in other people's shoes and that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's a silver lining, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
You can.
the lady that came to you over the weekend needed it because she was
Mhm.
stressed out about what was going on in the world. So, I mean, that's
Exactly.
just confirmation to my theory for sure.
Mhm.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can watch the evening news and then get stressed out and go book a Reiki session
Yeah.
with Shaina Marie.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. I have never had a proper real Reiki session myself, and I definitely, like you said, I should do that before I go learn it, how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. You'll love it.
Yeah. Gotta do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do
I'll let
it.
Frosty do it first though, because he needs it. I just want to do it
What
because
are you saying?
it'll be fun. He needs one to chill out.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
I feel
So
attacked.
you should be. Go
Yeah.
go click on her link right now and book something.
Go book my appointment. Yes.
Remember, she said click on change location or whatever.
Excellent.
Oh goodness. All right. Well, you got any more questions for Shayna?
No, let's give it a couple minutes. If anybody has anything in chat that you want to throw up
Yeah.
there, any questions, we can move along. Feel free. Don't be shy.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any questions about Reiki or any specific questions for Shaina Marie, let us know.
Or anything we've talked
Um,
about.
yeah.
Yeah. Put up your
Um,
questions.
I guess you'll be back on here. Are you going to be back on here tomorrow night?
Me? Yes. I will be
Mm-hmm.
back tomorrow, do my regular tarot and medium readings. So, come hang out.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, something that you had mentioned, I think this was before we started, was that you were able to get finally a space where you can do it in person. And you were
Yeah.
talking about how that is a little bit different than doing it remotely.
It is. I mean, essentially, like the distance sessions, they still work. If you need energy, it's gonna get sent to where you need it most. But just for me personally, even just with anything, like I love even mediumship readings, tarot readings. I do those on Zoom also. But there's nothing like doing things in having that, the screen kind of takes away, like, even though it's a great thing and, the world doesn't have to stop turning, especially during COVID, there's nothing like that in person contact, like it's just gives you, a different vibe, right? So, yeah, so I'm so happy that I just found an in person place here in California. And my very first day was on Sunday, and it was just like changing. I I think honestly, I just miss getting out of the house.
Yeah.
Telling my husband, like, "Oh my God, this was my first real work day because I had appointments booked back to back from like 9 to 5.
Wow.
Um, I hadn't worked. I quit my desk job um, just in June of last year, but I was on maternity leave since September of 2020. So I have not worked a full day for, what, a year and a half?
Yeah.
It
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as a mom, I know sometimes getting out of the house just on its own is a wonderful
Yeah.
thing.
It's
Not,
I don't even go shopping anymore. Like, if we need shampoo and conditioner at Target, I just do Amazon. Amazon all day, or Target drive up.
oh,
The
yeah.
online drive up does wonders. So it's almost weird. Like I have to relearn how
Mm-hmm.
to be around people in person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird for us, once again, being teachers, we even taught last year in person. Um, where we're located, they kind of kept school going, even though it was in smaller numbers. But yeah, just coming back this year was like full blown, like regular back to school. So we were thrown into it a little early, and it was definitely strange, trying to get back to whatever normal is and whatever normal is going to be moving forward. So yeah, I
Yeah.
understand where you're coming from there, trying to get reestablished,
Yeah,
getting
it's
that
like,
human
yeah,
connection.
it's been so long, right? You don't think about it. I feel like even when I tell people my age, I'm like, oh gosh, I feel like I missed 2 years because I feel like any birthday that happened during COVID didn't
Yeah.
count. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're adaptable, and you'll definitely give it a few weeks. It'll feel like normal again.
Yeah, yeah, everything's starting to go back to normal. So honestly, I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Um, our mask mandate finally, I think, 2 weeks ago here. So, um, I mean, it's just like it's nice to start seeing things, um, just going back to normal. Like even that, like you said with school, like I think my kids' schools are finally like starting to plan field trips and that kind of things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you see with the kids, you think how it affects, you as an adult, and it's even, it's been even more difficult for them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, because
hopefully
time seems
that's,
so much longer when you're a kid. I mean, some of these kids don't even know what it was like before at this point.
yeah, the little ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
they
talk
won't
about
even
that more.
remember it.
Yeah.
We had a rainy day today, and my daughter, she's only 1, And California is going through a drought, so we never have any rain. But today I brought her out and there was rain and she was scared. There's a lot of that rain.
What's that?
Oh my God, what's falling from the sky?
Yeah, she's like, what's happening? So yeah, but it's just funny because yeah, like she was scared because we've been inside, almost her whole life. Like, I mean,
Mm,
we've gone out, off the kids to school and like maybe grocery shop here and there, but like I said, even me, I do everything online. So everything is so new to her. So like today was the first time that I was like, oh yeah, we really need to like go to the park or something.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Craziness. All right. Well, I guess we better wrap this up. Don't forget, I'll be on tomorrow night. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna put the Shaina's website in the chat again in case you missed it. So if you're interested in booking a Reiki session, tarot reading, medium reading, you can go on there and do that with her.
Or go
And,
follow her on Instagram.
Follow her on Instagram too. And don't forget, she's gonna be doing that live event at the end of March with some of our other friends, which is gonna be free. So definitely get on there and get on it.
Yeah, when the flyer comes out, let us know and we can throw that in Discord too. That way, if anybody wants to participate from chat, they can go in there and find that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then actually on that link, I believe there's like a little icon for my Instagram account if you want to follow on there. And then also there's also a little link because that kind of pulls up a page and there's a bunch of links. So there's the book with me page, and then there's also the very top that says like join me on Ibble or something like that. I've been doing free events. Ibble is a new social media app, and I've been doing I actually have a contract with them for the next 4 weeks. And I'll be doing every Wednesday, like a new event. So one of the weeks I'll be, doing a little mini tarot lesson, and then one of the weeks I'll be doing like mediumship readings, and then oracle readings, pendulum readings. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, if you go on there, you'll see all that stuff.
That's cool. I don't know about that. I definitely have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, I feel like we've learned a lot about Reiki tonight, especially for Frosty. I think he learned quite a bit more. And we
Definitely.
really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And so bad. I was nervous for no reason.
Exactly. We were trying to tell you there's no reason to be scared about it.
Yeah. Just the way we look at this is a good conversation that other people can listen into.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's what
and
this show is.
participate with. Yeah. And participate in.
Participate in a good conversation. You know those Friday night conversations when it's like 11:30 and maybe you've had one beer too many and you start talking about some weird stuff.
Weird stuff.
That's what this show is.
Just a bunch of weirdos talking about weird stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, viewers, come back tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. You know the deal. I'll be back doing readings. So come get your reading tomorrow night. Thank you again to Shaina Marie for coming on. And thanks for Frosty for a wonderful news event this evening. So Shaina, stay on with us. And we'll talk to you a little bit before I say good night to you. Good night, everybody else. Yeah. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, if you happen to come in and just catch the end of the conversation, we will have this posted up on YouTube this week, so you can feel free to go back and watch it at your leisure.
Yes. Medium Jenny Lee, YouTube. All right. Good night, everybody. Bye, Lil Wang.